Hey folks, today we're cycling and doing a little bit of behind the scenes point of view photography. So watch on to find out just what it takes to put just one shot together. Hey folks, so a couple of things we're trying out today. First, what I've got is I've turned the Rocksteady off on the Osmo Action, and I'm actually using a very cheap gimbal that I got, which is called the Gimbal 2A, and I managed to get it for £55, and it's found that it's working out pretty steady so far. This is the first time I've really used it out in the field. But anyway, more on that later. The other reason I'm using that because it's quite handy to use as a tripod, and I forgot part of my other tripod. The one I usually put the action cam on, left the adapter at home, so I've had to use the gimbal really. So I'm only probably going to do one, maybe two shots today. So I found a rusty old fence which says private keep out. It looks like a regular dog walking sort of area. And it's, you know, it's got some nice textures and what have you on it. So I brought the X100V to keep travelling light because we're on the bike today. First time about trying this cycling as well, hence the cycle helmet. And the idea behind this is we tried this out when we did the car show, is that I can actually hold the gimbal, but it doesn't stay straight. Now the difference with this gimbal is that it's not digital, so the gimbal allows me to tilt my hand, so I'm actually moving my hand a little bit side to side, but the gimbal should be smoothing out the movement. So let's give this a go. So we're roughly in the right position for a sort of a basic composition here. So let us spin round and show you our fence and our composition. So you can see we've got some lovely trails leading off into the distance, into the trees there. We've got the rusty old fence here. We've got my bike in the foreground, although I'm not going to get that in the shot because it's kind of parked out of the way, so we shouldn't get that in the shot, I'm hoping. Otherwise I'll have to move it. And I'm going to come down quite low to get the composition. I'm letting the camera work out the exposure, so I'll probably move keep the focus on the gates, but we'll let it get the exposure from the darker part. Again, we can bring the shadows back in post. It's usually a lot easier to bring shadows back. So we'll get that composed. Probably going to have to move a little bit further back to get the composition in. We'll lock the focus on there. Come down a little bit. So if we're too high, we'll distort the angle of the gate. And of course you're going to see all the B-roll, but you're going to see bits of the B-roll. I'll probably do them in monochrome where the bits that where I've had to reposition. So we've been out for about an hour just to get this composition. And what I want to do as well is I like these sort of, we'll get a bit closer so you can see. We like these leaves here. So we'll probably try and not get the private keep out sign there. So again, if you can see what's going on there, we'll try and get, we'll have the private keep out in anyway. I'm getting covered in insects which are trying to eat me alive. So we're going to focus recompose, which is the most reliable method. So it's going to defocus the background, so it's going to be shallow depth of field. And what I might do is, one thing I wanted to try was putting the camera on the seat of the bike to see if that actually worked. I don't really like to balance things, but I've got to be careful because I only have so much microphone. So you should be able to see the different compositions that we've got here. We're at F8 and we're going to try and sort of compose with these grasses. So the idea is to get the drooping grass. You probably can't see that as easy from where the camera is. So again, I'll pick the camera up and bring it a bit closer, so you can see the composition. So the idea is to get the drooping grass in with a bit of the background and really get a shallow depth of field, get the colours and the suggestion of the field, which matches kind of the colour of the grass. So I'll bring you in behind the camera there. Oh, we've got to wait for the wind now. There's just a little breeze. Right, there we go, the breeze has stopped. So I'll bring that in. And get the shot fired off there. And hopefully that works out as quite a stable shot. The gimbal gives me quite a bit of flexibility to do this. So I think what we'll do is we'll move on and we'll try and grab one more shot. So you're only going to get a couple of shots in this. And I'm more doing this to show you like what goes on behind the scenes, because as I say, it's there's an awful lot of recording and backwards and forwards. It's a lot easier on a bike, and we're hoping to get into Newcastle city centre sometime this week, because I want to do some evening. Now the nights are getting darker, some evening street photography. So I haven't done a street photography video for a few weeks, so I want to do one of those as well. But the similar things are going to go in behind the scenes into all these videos where I do a little bit more of the, to set the scene of what the countryside's like, what I have to do. So that's the whole idea behind this, and also to try and show you that you can take quite mundane objects like a fence or things like this, and you can go in and you can sort of say, well, look, we've got these textures here, and we may as well get one more shot. So if we go in really close so you can see what's going on. I really like there's a little bit of the top popping over there. Of the rusty fence, and get the trail going into the background. That works quite well, I think. So there's a lot to be learned from taking abstract shots and not just trying to focus on taking a wonderful killer landscape, as it were. Look at what would be the right word to use? The minutiae, if that's even a word. The detail. I'm only a few miles from where I live. I've cycled somewhere. I haven't travelled far. I haven't had time this weekend to go anywhere really. So I thought this is what I'd do, show you that you can just go out with a simple, basic camera. You can even do this with your mobile phone and look for different compositions, and we'll see when we edit them when we get back, and you'll see them actually fully edited when I present them in the video, what they're actually going to be like. Anyway, let's move on and catch you all very shortly at the next one, where we'll wrap up. We'll do two, because we've already been out an hour and I need to get some exercise done. So I'll catch you in a bit. So there's a couple of compositions here. We've got some of these grasses. We've got a red set of leaves at the back, which are quite nice. And we've also got what looks like some thistles that are just budding. So we're going to get a snap of each of these. Again, there's some sort of quite abstract shots. Going to have a very shallow depth of field, so that we can defocus these foliage in the background. So the first one we're going to get is we're going to come in here on this little leaf here. Well, I say leaf, it's a grass. We're going to do a portrait composition. We'll get the cameras close. We've got pinpoint autofocus on, because if you don't do this on those cameras, like have a tiny autofocus point, you'll really struggle to get anything in focus. You come around here so you can see the composition. So we're not going to get a part of it in focus. We've got the gesture of the red leaves behind. Let's move on to the next bit, which is these grasses here. And again, I'm going to use a very shallow depth of field. Hopefully the wind won't go. And we're just going to keep snapping away and hope we get one. We're using the pinpoint autofocus again. And lastly, we've got to get right into the leaves down here. And we're going to pull some of these leaves out of the way. And I think these... Let's move that grass out of the way so you can see. This is where the gimbal makes a huge difference. So I just want to capture those leaves. And hopefully you can see that, with the gimbal getting you in really close to the action. I'm going to focus on the edge. And get the contrast of those very green leaves with the reds. So focus, recompose. Oh. So, there we go. What do we think? Behind the scenes POV. Hang on, I'm going to get around so I've got the light coming from the cloud. There we go. We're in the light, we're exposed properly. So that's behind the scenes, and this means that when I'm doing little intricate shots like that, with the gimbal I can really get you in with the camera and get you seeing what's happening rather than have the camera miles away or strapped to your body. Doesn't mean I'll be doing POV things in the future, so I'm still going to do those. I might find a way to... I'm looking at getting one of those Osmo Pockets and attaching it to the camera when I've got enough money, because they're quite expensive, 300 quid. And with one of those, it's a tiny gimbal, and it's going to give you a really interesting point of view. I can either take it off or I can clip it onto the camera and give you a really bird's eye view of what's happening. And the idea is to keep the kit for street stuff especially as compact as possible, because often it's quite awkward getting the camera out or walking around with the camera strapped on. It's quite obvious, but with street photography you need to be as subtle as you can. But I think that hopefully is a good example of how I can get you in really close to the action of taking some pictures. I know I haven't done a lot of pictures, but you'll see from the footage I'm going to throw in a bit of extra behind the scenes footage. I don't know if I might put it at the end, the behind the scenes footage, but it'll give you an idea of if there's as much effort goes into the bits behind the scenes as actually taking the pictures. And I've thoroughly enjoyed doing it, but I'd love to show you that part of the journey too. So anyway, folks, thank you for watching as always. If you did enjoy the video, please do click the like button, click the bell for notifications for more videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. It's not easy doing this. Hello again. So this is more messing around composing. So we've just done the going to shot, and now we're going to do the coming past shot, so we can come into where we're going to take the picture. There we go, all done.